Perfect. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me, and hi to everyone who's watching.
We
Yeah,
we are so grateful that you are here. Take out your important time, and you're gonna share some knowledge with us. So we really appreciate it. And I would like to go ahead straight and ask you questions. So my first question is that recently Malta in last few years, not before because I'm a digital nomad for a while, I haven't heard a lot about Malta, but now in last 2 3 years, it started getting traction. A lot of people start asking about it. So what happened in last 2 or 3 years that Malta got traction in digital nomad
for
community?
sure. For sure. I think, like many digital nomad destinations, it really takes one person to start bringing people together, and things snowball from there. About 3 4 years ago, we saw the first co-living spaces opening up, and the first people, establishing kind of a community of digital nomads here.
Wow.
Of course, I think the infrastructure was always good for expats, but now we're seeing that the digital nomad services are increasing. So one co-living space has become three, and we're also seeing more co-working spaces as well happening. That's I guess what's happened in the past 3 years. That once you kind of make a small community, it builds from there.
Wow, that's incredible. So the infrastructure was already there, and now all these service providers creating an ecosystem to cultivate this amazing digital nomad destination. So incredible to know. Luca, my second question would be, why Malta? Why a digital nomad who's considering to relocate or to live sometime somewhere in Europe? Why they should pick Malta? What would be your top three, features of that country?
Yes, I mean, Malta's has had this idea of nomads for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and that's something that you find in our language, and also in our identity. It's a part of us to be open to travelers and people from all over the world. So that's definitely something that I think draws a lot of people in the history. Of course, it is one of the warmest places in Europe. It's probably the warmest country in Europe, the furthest south, that is, just south of Sicily. So I think, as we've seen in that viral meme of island boys, people like the island lifestyle, and I think that's definitely a big attraction point for Malta. It's always been. I think over the years, Malta has changed a lot. So from a sleepy Mediterranean island country, it's become more metropolitan in a sense. So that's definitely a change that's happened over the years. That people who remember Malta 30 years ago do notice the difference.
Wow.
But of course, there's still the beautiful places, the beautiful nature to see. Lots of great beaches, and even the surfing community has grown quite a bit here in Malta. So there's quite a lot of the typical things that digital nomads look for, all packaged in this unique way that is Malta.
Wow. Wow. What a great reply. And this really, really making me want to go to Malta and check it out. And, so thank you very much. Now we'll ask you, okay, we decided that we want to check out Malta. We want to live there. Of course, the biggest thing is the visa and immigration. That comes into mind. So I will start. My first basic question would be that if I want to live short time, I want to visit for a few months, do I need a visa if I come from, let's say, US or Canada or Australia?
Well, actually, Malta has very good diplomatic relationships with most of the world, being a Commonwealth country, being a European country, and that does allow most people from around the world to travel here without any kind of visas for up to 3 months.
Wow.
And then when it goes beyond the 3 months, there's a number of different residency options.
Wow.
So the latest one, and the one that's kind of the focus of today, is the Nomad Residency Permit. And that's actually been designed for people who want to stay here beyond the 90 days. establish a bit more of a base here for up to 1 year.
Sure.
And it's been designed in quite a loose way, in the sense that it does understand that digital nomads want to travel and not spend a full year in Malta, but also travel around other key destinations that are very close by.
Wow, that's good. So I will ask you, as you already mentioned, that Digital Nomad Visa, we're calling it Digital Nomad Visa, where we ask you. So for digital nomads, there is a specific visa created by the Maltese government. And can you please tell us what that visa called and what are some of the features of that visa? For example, the duration and if it's a temporary or permanent residence.
Yeah, so it's basically a type D multi-entry national visa. So that's the category of visa that it is. Type D multi-entry national visa. If you Google it, it gives you the exact specifications. In general, it allows you to stay for up to 1 year. It is renewable, so if at the end of 1 year you want to stay for longer, it's allowed. And the criteria are designed for 3 categories of people. That would be a digital entrepreneur. It could be even a consultant, but as long as your business is carried out remotely through your laptop, then you would be able to qualify. There's also remote workers are included in this. So if you work for a company that allows you to work remotely, it's valid for you too. And also for freelancers. So it does also consider freelancers in this residency permit.
Wow, that's good to know. So follow-up questions comes to my mind straight away, that the employer or the income must be coming outside of Malta, correct?
Correct. The employer must be outside of Malta, and annual taxes are actually paid remains the same. So if your company is set up in the UK and you pay your taxes over there, that doesn't change. You keep operating in that way, and you're going to be in Malta physically rather than taking your business here.
Wow. And this is actually pretty incredible to hear that. And for example, I am getting the money from my UK company. I am not paying taxes on that. Is there any other taxes I'm paying while on this visa in Malta?
No, there's no other. The only other taxes that a person would be paying would be if they're spending money at a restaurant or this sort of thing. But when it comes to your business, it's not touched. However, of course, Malta has been quite renowned for its efficient financial services, and it is open to digital nomads that if after 1 year they decide to establish further ties with Malta and move their company here, then they would be able to benefit from the tax structures that Maltese companies have, which for foreign-owned shareholders gives a tax rebate up to 5%. So that's also something that many entrepreneurs, digital nomads consider. They come here with the nomad residency. It's not too complicated. There's not much commitment involved. And then if they actually like the lifestyle and they do kind of get more familiar with what kind of legal services exist, they would feel more comfortable to then say, yes, I actually want a Malta company and benefit from that.
Wow, this is incredible. So nomad residency, give me 1 year visa, type D visa. I'm creating a scenario here. And after that, I decided to move my US entity or a UK company to Malta. And then you mentioned then the taxes will be 5% corporate taxes?
Yes, but just to be clear there, that would be, let's say, after 1 year, your nomad residency expires and you decide that you want to establish a more permanent residency and also establish a company here. If you wanted to just keep your company in the US and extend by another year, you could also do that, and there's no qualms over there.
Okay, that's incredible. And how, for example, that I get this visa for 1 year, and as you said, that I want to extend my stay, or I want to go for the permanent visa path. Is there an options for me to convert this visa to other visas?
So it's not a conversion in the sense that the 1 year on the nomad residency won't count for the years on a permanent residency, correct? But it is there is an option to then go on to a new scheme, but you would have to start from day one of that scheme.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So it's not like,
That is a limitation for sure.
so if some of the digital nomads, hey guys, if you're planning to move permanently to Malta, then you should talk to Luca for other visa option, which would be much better for you than this visa. Is that correct?
Yes, I personally I focus on the nomad residency, but we do of course I could point you in the right direction with people who would be more qualified than me for that particular permit. And that's how I like to work. By focusing on the nomad residency, I have one speciality,
Sure.
and then if it comes to helping people with any of the other kind of needs that they have. As a local here, I do have a friend for everything, so that would be
That's incredible.
just an introduction from my side.
The people from my community, to be honest, they are mostly short-term, 3 months to 1 year. That's the timeline. I was in Colombia, and literally I was on a tourist visa as a Canadian passport holder. And after 3 months, literally I wanted to stay a little bit longer, but I did not have any option, and I had to move out. Now I'm in Brazil, and I'm literally thinking to apply digital nomad visa. So I'm sure that most of the digital nomads in my shoes are looking for nomad residency visa for Malta, just to have an option to explore this beautiful country. And so, is I will ask you, I will get into the application, how to apply this visa part. So how do we apply this nomad residency visa in the embassy, online? How does it work?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, and it's all designed to be done remotely. So there's no embassies involved. There's everything can be done remotely. So it's really a matter of compiling the applications in Google Drive and submitting the documents.
Wow.
If you don't require an entry visa to Malta, then you don't even need to rent the apartment before you arrive to Malta. However, if you do need an entry visa to come to Malta, that would mean you would need to book the accommodation before you arrive. So that's just two small distinguishes that you can make over there.
Is there any other requirement? Most of the requirements mainly come from the European, US, Australia. But we do have a good number. We are having a good number of South America or India or Asian countries as well. So if those people who do need visa to Malta, as you said, then to apply online, they would need to submit a proof of accommodation, which could be Airbnb. Is that what that is?
Okay, so it's the beginning of the question cut out, but then I heard the end.
Sure. So the people who need a visa, for example, to enter Malta, and they want to apply nomad residency visa. So as you mentioned, they have an additional requirement to submit a proof or evidence of the accommodation. Is there any other requirements for them, or just the accommodation proof?
Yeah, the requirement is a health insurance. So those are the two final requirements that are needed before the application is approved.
Oh,
The application basically happens in two stages. The first stage is where you're applying with just your identity documents, proof of your income, and that sort of documentation. That gives you that's done completely online, and you receive an acceptance based on that information. And then, if you are able to visit Malta without any visa whatsoever for up to 90 days, you can come here, check out a property, finalize a lease, actually see the place, and also get the health insurance, unless you already had one. And then after us applying those final documents, you visit the Residency Malta offices, who would be taking your biometrics and issuing the card. On the other hand, if you require an entry visa to come to Malta, you do have the possibility to book a temporary accommodation on an Airbnb, and then arrive to Malta and change the property that's registered with your documents. However, it is an extra step that takes a bit longer than if you didn't need the entry visa.
Sure. This is incredible. So I did not notice, Luca, that we have a lot of questions. So I will pause myself and ask you the questions we have here. So how can non-contractual freelancers, workers move to Malta? For example, yoga teacher. She means like a self-employed people, let's say, who do not have a company, who do not have a formal employment.
Yes. So in this case, you would need to create your application profile, and by doing that, you need to be showing your sources of income. Because you're a freelancer and you might not have kind of steady income, you'd want to show as much history as possible. The best thing I recommend for people who have, let's say, regular clients is also to get a letter from your client that states you have a regular relationship. These are all kind of documents that they're looking for, just to ensure that the freelancer has a stable freelancing income.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. And Danica asked, you mentioned about remote workers. How about employees who are currently employed but is currently working from home until further notice? Will Malta government allow such candidates, say only for short-term stay, 3 to 6 months, working for PNG, for example?
Yes, it's actually perfectly suited for those kind of people. Of course, if you can continue doing your job from here, there's no problem when it comes to applying. And you would need to get a signature from your employer that you're allowed to be working from Malta.
Okay, that sounds good, Danica. It's a good news, Danica. Make a move. All right. Andrea asked, is it renewable? How many times can I renew this visa?
There's no limit to the renewals, and just last week the government did a PR conference on the scheme. Their opinion was that they were very happy with the results. So from that feedback, it seems like this is going to continue at least in the near future for sure.
Wow, this is incredible good news. Andrea asked another question. Can I bring my partner with me? How much more income would we have to prove together?
Good question. Yes, you can bring your partner, even your kids. However, for each person that is dependent, there is an extra €300 that goes on the minimum, which is the minimum is 2,700. So it's you and your partner, then it would be a minimum of 3,000.
Perfect. Okay, that's not bad. And then they can also, if they both are working, then they both can show like 15 as well, right? It's a combined income.
Not so much so actually. It is taken into consideration that let's say if the partner has their own remote income. However, for the application, the minimum income needs to come from the main applicant.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds incredible. And the total duration for Nomad Visa is 2 years. I think it's 1 year, right? Or which gives temporary residence. Can you clarify?
It's up to 1 year.
Yeah.
It's up to 1 year.
Okay. So Nivedita is 1 year, not 2 years. Danik asked another question. Is there a minimum?
Of course, after 1 year, there's no issue in renewing. So after 1 year, you don't resubmit, you just update. So you just you don't need to redo the application. You just need to show that you still have your income.
Wow. Okay, perfect. And the minimum income you already mentioned, 2,700 euros a month, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Danica asked you. Now, Luca, if we need help, definitely most of digital nomads would need help. They're busy working and they want to hire you. They can go to visadb, of course, but do you tell the process if they are working with you? They will contact you through visadb platform. They start chatting. Is there anything special you would want them to prepare before contacting you?
Well, really and truly, in a 30 minutes chat, we could very quickly go through all of the criteria, and as long as you have your your things together, I think the usual questions people ask, and then is about the specifics. So obviously there's certain things which would just need to be a bit different, and I'd be able to explain in full.
Yeah. So guys, whoever is watching the replay on YouTube or anywhere, I really want to share that Luca is an incredible person, but also he's an incredible professional. He's just focusing on Nomad Residency Visa. That gives him an edge over other providers because he knows everything about it. Because if you're focusing only on one visa, you become a master, you gain mastery. So he's definitely going to help you. We got 2 more questions, Luca. And we're asking, as a nomad yourself, she's addressing you, how do you describe the community in Malta?
Cool. So the question was, am I a nomad myself?
Yeah. Are you a nomad yourself? And even if you're not, but do you know about the community in Malta?
Cool. I like that question. I mean, especially the last 2 years, I haven't traveled as much as I was traveling a few years ago. But it's for me. I actually got involved in this work just because I wanted to meet people who are digital nomads. I'm an entrepreneur, so yes, I've got this Nomad Visa Malta business, but I also do some work in the metaverse and some other spaces. And for me, it's a pleasure to bring people into Malta and try to introduce them to the networks that exist here. There's a number of different communities that are active. There's some that are dedicated only for digital nomads, but then there's also others which are more general for expats too. So the community here does the weekly events in the summer, and there's even a new brand starting up of kind of entrepreneurship events that are more focused on digital nomads and entrepreneurs. Wow. I'd say that at any one time there's always a couple hundred people here who would call themselves a digital nomad.
Wow, this is incredible. And our friend Abhijit asked, is there any language compulsion to apply or enter? Is like language requirements you have to enter?
Malta has two official languages, and that's Maltese and English. So everything here is English. The language, of course, is Maltese, spoken between locals. A lot of people who stay here long term do pick up a few Maltese words for conversations. Yeah. Some of them are quite famous, like Mela. But no, there's no language obligations for the residency permit.
Wow. Okay, that sounds good. So if I speak English, I will be absolutely fine. How about locals? Do they speak English as well?
Of course, we're all bilingual here. So Malta is very multinational in terms, not just in terms of having expats, but we also do business with most of the world. And Maltese being a language that's only spoken by 500,000 people on the island, it means that we are all bilingual. Wow. That's it.
That's incredible. My last question would be around, which is my favorite, is around cost of living. You may not know, of course, everybody has a different taste and different requirements. But if we take a basic benchmark, what do you think a rough cost of a small studio apartment, not in a very expensive area, not on an average area? Do you have any ideas about the rents?
Yeah, so a studio apartment, you're looking around 600 to 800 in central areas. If you find a bargain in areas that are outside of the center, you could get maybe a studio for 500-600. But property prices are in general not too cheap on the island.
Okay, so is it right? And what about the food and general other bills and other things, other items? Do you think, how would you compare with any other European country? Let's say, would you compare Malta like Poland or Germany, or which country you would think comparable?
With the food prices?
Food and general other prices, yeah.
Okay. So from my experience, restaurants are pretty decently priced. Eating out is not too bad. Yeah. Supermarkets are a bit more expensive than average, mostly because of, everything's imported. Yeah. And then obviously, when it comes to drinks, drinks are very well priced. So I like to measure cost of living by pints. And a pint in Malta is approximately 253 euro. So
Okay.
that's a good perspective.
Wow. To be honest, that's not too bad because I'm in Brazil right now. It's kind of similar. I'm in Sao Paulo. It's like that. So that's incredible. So Luca, as already 2 minutes over now, but I really want to show gratitude on behalf of my community. They are not all here, but they will be watching your videos later. And I know they all want to say one thing, that thank you so much for coming in today, taking out your important time and sharing this important information. And everybody who's watching it, if you would like to contact Luca, please go to visadb.io, search experts, and you will see in on top 5 services. Click on it, click on the service, click chat, and tell Luca what is your situation, and he will help you to relocate to Malta. Fees are really affordable. He mentioned a range there, but of course the exact cost he will let you know after knowing where you come from and other things. So check him out, hire him, reach him. He's ready, as you all can see. He's young and friendly and approachable. So reach him out and let us know. And thank you everybody for tuning in today. Next week we will be having another community webinar for another destination. So thank you so much, and thank you very much, Luca. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.